Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome, beautiful souls, to a new episode of Soul Love. And today I have the honor to share with you the beautiful magic of my soul sister, Kendra Woods. I welcome you within this sacred space.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It's really beautiful. I've been following you on Facebook for a while and we've been connecting, and I love how you share the wisdom of being a projector and of the human design. And yeah, I think it's a beautiful topic. We haven't talked about it, but how it can empower us and how it can share and how it has support your journey. So I don't know, for everyone tuning in to this beautiful episode, maybe you can share a little bit about human design, and then we'll dive just into our stories of empowerment and wisdom.
Yes, that sounds good. Absolutely. So do you want me to start? I can start sharing a little bit.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. I know human design, but you're much more into it. I know the general outline of it, but you are, you're practiced in these teachings. So yeah.
Yes. So, well, human design, essentially, for those who don't know what this is, the way that I explain it is I like to explain it as a system that gives words to energy. That's what came up for me when I was first introduced to human design. I was like, oh, okay, now I have words for all these things I was feeling or thinking and moving through. And so essentially, it is a beautiful system that pulls together ancient wisdom from the Kabbalah, the I Ching, the chakra system, a little bit of quantum physics and astrology. It pulls this all together to create what we call, in human design, we call it a body graph. I like the word blueprint, like your energetic blueprint.
I love that too. Yes. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
And essentially, it is your blueprint to show you as a unique individual that you are, how your energy is designed to show up in this world, how your energy is designed to interface with other people and in relationship with other people, and in many other facets of your life. And so it is, if you could think to yourself, gosh, I wish I had a handbook or something that would support me in understanding me and what's best for me and how I best make decisions, or, some of the energetic themes that I keep bumping up against. I wish I had something like that. That is what human design is.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And it's when you go to pull your human design blueprint, you punch in your birth information and it will tell you what type or frequency you are. There's 5 different frequency types in human design.
Yeah.
So, and through that lens, you get a really clear picture of, oh, okay, all the parts of me that I thought were wrong are actually the parts of me that I get to embrace.
Yeah, because it's really a puzzle. I've been diving a little bit in my human design, but it's like the tipping point of the iceberg of what is possible and the amount of that. But how did it came on your path? Like, how did you?
Yeah. So how did it? So I was, quite interestingly, I was invited into this world of human design. I have a really, really good friend of mine who introduced this to me. She was so excited about human design. And so she brought it up on one of our accountability calls. And I was happy for her. I'm like, good for you. I'm like, that's exciting. I'm glad that you found something that you enjoy. And we had another call. She brought it up again. I'm like, okay, this is great. And then by the third time, she was like, okay, listen, you need to go and type in your information, go get your body graph, and let's come back and talk about it together.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, sure. So I went away and did that. And I realized that I had actually pulled my human design chart like a year before, but again, at that time, it looked like Greek to me.
Yes,
so like,
because that is it for me. Yeah, when you first look at it, you see all these different, the blueprint. But if you don't have the codes, it's deciphering a hieroglyph. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Right. So anyway, so having conversation with her, so I came back to her and I said, oh, I was like, I'm a projector. What are you? She's like, I'm a manifesting generator. I'm like, oh, that's neat. And she's telling me about, you know, what it means to be a manifesting generator. And so then I go away and I do a little research myself about being a projector. And I like cried. Like I literally cried because I thought, oh my gosh, how can something be so accurate? And like I felt seen, I felt understood, things that I had gone through in my past up to that point really began to make sense. Yeah. And so I went down the rabbit hole. Like I researched all the things, and then I decided I was going through my own experiment of it and working through it with myself and learning what it meant and reading the books. And then I thought, well, I'm going to go take a class and dive deeper. Yeah. And so I got certified in human design. And then at that point, I thought, you know, if this has been such a gift to me, I've got to share this with my current clients. I've got to, you know, introduce them to this. And that kind of birthed me pivoting my business to focus solely on like human design and helping women entrepreneurs through the lens of their design instead of trying to tell them my way, helping them find their way. Yeah, you know,
I love that. Yeah. And especially because if I understand correctly, there are like the percentage on the world that is a projector is not as large as manifesting generators or so it's also, I think, because I know a lot of my friends are projectors as well, but it is a different approach than being a generator. And maybe you want to share for everyone tuning in that is a projector, like what was it for you that sparked, and also how did you support yourself in it? Because it is a whole different approach to your business and to your life, and a different way of allowing the universe to co-create with you. And yeah,
exactly. And I love that word approach, because you're correct. So generator types, either generators and manifesting generators make up 70% of the population, and as projectors make up about 20%. So it was interesting when I understood and began to study, like, you know, the approach of being a generator. I was like, oh, I mean, of being a projector, I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I've been doing it the generator way because I grew up, like my dad is a generator and my mother is a manifesting generator. So I grew up in that generator environment and learned their ways and learned how they respond to the world, right? Because generators and manifesting generators are designed to respond. And, you know, you have this ability to like regenerate this energy, and you have a lot of energy to put towards the work and the things that are right for you.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And so what I recognized is, as a projector, I don't have that. That doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or that, you know, any less, or it doesn't mean that. It just means that, oh, the way that I approach my life and my business has to be very, very intentional with where I place my energy. And so what made sense to me is, up to that point, I was working in corporate America and I was surrounded by generators, and I was doing the hustle. I was hustling, I was pushing, I was forcing, I was trying to climb the corporate ladder, and I was burning myself out. Yeah. When I learned I was a projector, what I recognized is I'm designed to, all projectors are designed to wait for the invitation. We're not here to work in the traditional sense that maybe a generator or a manifesting generator is. We're actually here to guide. Yeah. Right? And that is a different approach, right? So I'm not out there doing the thing per se. I am in my aura, showing up with what I'm excited about, sharing my bliss, and opening my energy up for people to reach out to me and say, hey, I want to hear more about that. Can you tell me more about that? That sounds great. Or I have a question. And then once that happens, then what happens is they open up their energy to receive me as a projector, because as projectors, if the other person has not opened their energy for us to step into it, then we feel that resistance.
Yeah, I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
support myself in that, the first thing I did is I just slowed down. I slowed down completely. And I kind of did a reassessment of how I was showing up in my life, in my business.
Yeah, because
And
it's a totally different template than we're generally being taught. It's like, yeah, work hard and push and create. And yeah, and if then you, because I also love that as you shared your blueprint, it's like, it's not not good or wrong. There's nothing, it's just discovering who you are, and from your strength, your unique blueprint in whatever way, whether it's human design or other things, it's finding your uniqueness and finding the things that work for you, instead of looking outside and seeing, okay, that works for my neighbor and I'm going to do that, but somehow it doesn't work out for me, and it doesn't work because we're designed differently. We're all, and that's what I found interesting as well, with just in general with the human design. We have so many different, even within a generator, and there are so many, it really makes a unique, more unique print than just, I'm a generator and that is it. No, you really can go into the depth. Yeah. But what, in your way of approaching also your business, like how do you do that as a projector? Or what do you see? You allow the invitation to come, but how does that practically look like for also people joining? How do you approach that and invite your clients to do the same? Yeah.
And so here's the interesting piece. And I think where as a projector, when you're learning how to be who you naturally are designed to be, there's a little resistance, because our energy as projectors is more of that like feminine quality in our energy, meaning it's a little more laid back, right? And so the way that looks in business is it has to start with doing the work within.
Yeah.
So yes, inner work is important to everybody. I definitely believe that. But for projectors especially, it is really about aligning and not trying to connect how much you do to what you receive, right? Or trying to connect your value with how much you do. So in my business, and what I share with my clients is, okay, listen, your strategy is to be invited. So then that works both ways.
Yeah.
So invite people to be in your space. That looks a bit different than, I'll give some examples, right? That looks a bit different than cold calling. Yeah. And trying to talk to somebody you've never talked to before. Yeah. That looks a bit different than maybe, reaching out to people in your DMs and saying, hey, my name's so-and-so, nice to meet you. And that may work for other types. And that's not a bad strategy. It just doesn't work well for projectors because we need to be invited in. So instead, what we get to do is, number one, focus on your craft. What is your craft? What is your zone of genius? Yeah. What is it that you can just become excellent at? Focus on that, because as projectors, we're great with systems. So what is that thing? And then your work is to do your inner work and to become really, really proficient at your system that you're excited about. Yes. And then go out there and show up and be seen, because in order to be invited as a projector, people need to see you and know you're out there. Yes. And talk about what you do, how you do it. Take people on a journey, talk about your journey, and then have the invitation open to say, if you want more of this or you enjoy this, I invite you to reach out to me. I invite you to join my group, or I invite you, and purposely using that word invite. Yes, I love that. But I just in general think this should be the new template of business, just being in your zone of genius. That's what it's like, and just being visible and then allowing people to resonate with you and resonate. Yeah. So yes, for projectors, but I think for me, it resonates. I'm a generator, but for me, it resonates as well to just, those are powerful tools, not even if you are a projector, but just in general, to really be in your zone of genius and share. And what I love about what you also shared is also for projectors then to be visible, because sometimes it can be like, okay, I need to be, but there's also the doing part is then being visible with what you're enthusiastic about, with being, because I think that's sometimes a component that then gets missed, or it's right. Yeah, right. Because also for the invitation, you need to say, I'm ready, or somehow it's okay. Yes. I'm open to receive. Yeah. And that is a challenge, I think, for, again, not just projectors, but I find with many entrepreneurs, there's a fear around being visible, because then to be visible is to be vulnerable in a sense, because you are
It is.
opening yourself up for people to
Yeah.
criticize or judge or reject. But that's why I talk about doing the inner work, right?
Yeah.
Of getting yourself really grounded in your own personal power,
Yeah.
and recognizing that, I tell my projectors, like, you're not for everyone.
No.
There are going to be people who don't want your wisdom. They don't want to hear from you. And that is quite okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially what I love also about this approach is just sharing from your authentic truth, as in this podcast. And whoever resonates with it, it's fine. But it's not like, sometimes there are indeed these approaches that are more into your face. And then it's like, it is like, where's the boundary, or where does it become like, something beautiful? And that's what I love about what you're sharing. It's just sharing from the heart, sharing from authenticity. And then some people will resonate and some not, but there's also people can they have the freedom to tune in, and they're not being, I think that's an important one. They have the freedom to see you for your magnificence. And if it not resonates, they can just go on and do something else. It's not like a pushing thing or, So I think that's a beautiful way. Yeah. Maybe paving the way for new entrepreneurship, or paving the way for new, I think that is also the new template of how, new earth businesses will be more. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I deeply believe too that, you mentioned about this new pathway of doing business, this new earth doing business, that it really does, I feel like, shifting into this space of more of a collaborative way of doing business versus the competitive way that the old paradigm was kind of rooted in, right? You have competition and you've got to be better than them, and you've got to, and we're moving away from that, I feel, to this space of just collaborating, and like what you and I are doing here, right? Like, you're bringing your best and authentic self forward. I'm bringing myself, and together we're creating this beautiful conversation that then gets to have a ripple effect.
It is, out
into the world. And that's how I think we get to really impact more people, because when we understand ourselves and we understand our gifts and how we best show up to the table, then there is no worry about anything else. You just get to be you.
It is. Yeah. But it's also easy. That's also what I notice also with these conversations. It's just showing up. It's not, I don't prepare, and it's just being present and having a beautiful conversation, and by that inspiring people. But it's also, it is a gift, I think. But it's also doing the inner work. But that's what I love about what you shared as well. It is the divine feminine way of just doing the inner work and being open to receive, and then being also able to say yes, because you've been doing the inner work. Because that is what I noticed in a lot of journeys, and also with clients. Sometimes they're ready to say yes, but there's so much still struggling within themselves that there is too much resistance to fully jump into a new adventure. And I think that's also an important key, that if we consistently do the inner work, when an amazing opportunity comes, we are fully open and we're fully receptive to say yes. And
exactly, that is, we talk a lot in human design, we use the term deconditioning. And that is, again, I mean, that's for all types. It doesn't matter what frequency you are, there's an element of deconditioning that needs to happen. And this is, I think, the piece that I really geek out on when it comes to human design, because if you're somebody who's wondering, I feel like this is holding me back, but I'm not sure, or you just know, you have this feeling inside that something is holding you back, and you're open and willing to kind of doing the navigation to figure out what that is. Your human design blueprint actually can pinpoint very specifically the energetic themes that may be getting in your way. And I just think about how beautiful that is, because you don't have to spend as much time kind of trying to figure this out or figure that out. We can go straight to it and say, you know what, it looks like this energetic theme here is playing out in a low frequency for you. Do you recognize this? Do you see it showing up this way? And most of the time people are like, yep, that's me.
How do you know?
Right. But then it's like, okay, great. So now that you know that, you can make a choice. You can make a more empowering choice of how you want to show up, while at the same time healing that part of you that needed to be in that energy for whatever reason, to get you through whatever part of your life you needed to at that time. you
I
know?
love that. Yeah. But it's again having a choice, and by awareness, creating awareness about we know we have a choice instead of not knowing what is happening or feeling almost like life is overcoming us. It's beautiful. I think that's beautiful about this, but also other modalities. It's like it creates awareness around maybe like points where we elements within ourselves where we can create growth and we can expand beyond what we're doing. And yeah, it also a little bit reminds me of like activating the flow of love, like the inner garden. There's a lot we need to take out. It's like unpeeling all these layers of conditioning and unpeeling all these layers of judgment and things that is not our essence, and it's peeling back about this essence. But can you also within the human design see like what are life lessons, or is that not, is it more like your blueprint? Or yeah, so it's also knowing what these layers might be that we wanted to learn, or yeah.
Yes, you will definitely see life lessons in your chart, like especially when we get into like the astrological portion, like in the chart, you can kind of see based upon what gate, what, you know, planet a particular gate is in, you are able to then see what the energetic theme of that is.
Yeah.
And so you can see the theme, you can see the lessons. One of my lessons, for example, like in my blueprint, is the lesson around creating harmony between control and surrender, right? I have a lot of energy in my chart that if I don't tend to it, I can try to control everything.
Yeah.
You know, that the fears have, I want to control this, I want to control that, you know, white knuckle things.
Yeah.
But because I'm aware of that, I can recognize it so quickly when I'm trying to control something, and I can step into that surrender and go, okay, wait, I don't need to control that. No. Let me step into my authority instead. Yes. I don't, you know, I get to recognize that what I can control is me.
Yes, it is. The choice you have to, yeah.
Right.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
You can definitely see those, your purpose, your big, you know, the theme around your purpose that you're here to live out in the world shows up in your human design chart. And so, I mean, again, like there's so many different facets and avenues that you can take into this if you're wanting to know, okay, how do I show up as a better leader in my business? Or how do I show up as a better leader for myself, right? How do I lead myself better? Or, you know, I just want to know, like, what are my gifts? We can find that.
Yeah.
Where is it that I'm wise? Where am I naturally wise at? We can find that, right? So it's so much fun, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, you use a term like your inner garden, and it's like, so if we go with that term, we get to be in your garden with a little map.
And
go there.
Yes, and go figure out who we are. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but that's just also what I love in general with all these different modalities. They all give us puzzle pieces, and in the end, it is a combination of all that gives us the unique message. Yeah, but I'm also a little bit curious because you said you worked in the corporate industry. How was that for you to then shift to now having your own business, and also, yeah, really? How was that transition for you, especially, in the space where you're in, and also sharing as a projector, really being in the beingness? I think that there was quite a transition from being in the doing mode to, starting your own business, but then allowing yourself to be. I think that's because especially when people start their own business, they need to do a lot. And now it's like, you were invited to do the other way around. Yeah,
exactly. Well, so in my corporate space, the thing that's interesting about that, when I look back on that season of my life, you know, I was kind of following this pathway that I was told was the pathway, right? Like you go to university, you go to college, you get your degree, you go into corporate America, you work your way up. And so that's what I was doing. Yeah. But what I recognized is I kept reaching like these little points of burnout where I was like, oh gosh, I cannot do this anymore. Yeah. And I would get so frustrated because I just kept hitting this wall. Yeah. So my last experience in corporate, I was an executive, a healthcare executive. And I mean, by the world standards, I had a great job, right? It was a great career, an amazing pay. It had the status, you know, all the things. Yes. But at that point, like I hit burnout to the point where my body just shut down. It was literally, universe was like, you're stopping right now.
Yeah. Time for something different. Yeah.
Remember something different. And then through that, I kind of moved my way through that, but then I still kept going at it. I knew I needed to leave and do something different, but I had no clue what that was. So I was then a couple months later, I decided to start my business.
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this online thing. And literally right when I did that and made that decision, my company said to me, we're letting you go. And I was like,
Wow, I get
oh,
goosebumps. Yes,
it was
yes.
like my worst fear coming true, but also a blessing. At the time, it didn't feel like a blessing.
No, I get that. We have these phases in our lives. Afterwards, we
Right.
understand the bigger meaning, but in the middle, it feels like something different. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I recognize, I'm like, I needed that space to just
Yeah.
rest and restore,
Yeah.
recover my energy, realign myself. I hadn't found human design at that point.
Mhm.
So all I knew was how to approach it like I did when I was in corporate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I
Yes.
did that.
Yeah.
But I had a little bit more freedom and spaciousness. So
Mhm.
I didn't burn myself out there necessarily, but I still found the resistance. I'm like, why isn't this working? Like I'm trying
Yes.
new things. And so then once I found human design, I was like, okay, I can relax a little bit. I can actually the words simplify and streamline like have become my mantra. I'm like, how
Yeah.
can I simplify my business? How can I streamline it? Because as a projector, we don't need to have our hands in all these different things because then we just fragment our energy and we're no good to anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I learned a lot back then and I recognized that that wasn't the environment for me.
No, I get that. But I think for a lot of people, they like from the outside world, it looks like a beautiful picture and we're living the dream, but does it really give the fulfillment? Especially people tuning into this, we're all searching for something greater, something more profound, something more meaningful from the depth of our being. And yeah, that's not per se the 3D image of, yes, we have everything figured out, but is it truly in our heart? Is our heart singing hallelujah? Or is it like, okay, yeah, and that's what we're all looking for, I think. Even when you're tuning into this, that's the deeper, the singing of our soul. It's
Yes.
So I love that, but I also believe that the moment we leap, we get these opportunities on our path, or the universe gifts us things. So like you, the human design coming on your path, but it was like a next step. First, you need to step out of and then the next step will reveal itself. And then, but I also love the surrendering because that's the hardest part, to really surrender and align to what your heart is calling and what is your heart sharing. And so that's beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's, I love that you talked about like really operating from like the depths of our soul, like that purpose, that place. Cause I used to tell people as part of my story, I'm like, if you would have saw me back then, if you would have seen me back then, you would think, oh my gosh, she has it together. Like, look at her, she looks amazing. But inside I was like dying. Like my soul was just like, not in it. And I think that, there's a path for everyone. For me, that wasn't it. For some people, they thrive in that environment and that works for them. For me, I needed something with more meaning and impact. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to feel like I was impacting lives more directly than I was in the job that I was in.
Yeah.
And but I think essentially a lot of people, especially in today's time, are looking for how they can create more meaning in their life. And if they are in the corporate world, they're looking for jobs that have deep meaning to them, or careers that have deep meaning, right? And for some of us, that comes through entrepreneurship, that comes through creating and co-creating with the divine and connecting with other individuals and just showing up in a different way.
It is, but I think the most important thing is aligning to our heart, and for some that is within the corporate structures or within the general systems. And because I have a lot of soul sisters that are working within but they are very passionate, and they, with heart and soul, they bring fire and love within these systems and within these corporate worlds. And I think that's amazing. But it is really, is our heart happy? Are we listening to our heart when we do it? Do we get excited about it? And but again, that's also coming back to our blueprint. Like, we're all unique, and it's not per se what works for you and works for me will work for someone else. It's tuning in, like what is truly aligned. But then again, it goes back to, are we willing to listen to our inner voice, to our heart, to what our soul essence is trying to share with us? And So what I love, because I also notice when you just start this journey, it might sometimes be difficult to tune in. Where do I start? And what is and these beautiful tools help with that. They give you an overview, and they give you like almost puzzle pieces for you collect even more and to create awareness so that you have a choice. And that's
exactly.
I love
Yes. The clues, that the clues are there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the willingness to listen to our heart. And I think, I mentioned deconditioning earlier. That is a part of that deconditioning journey, is peeling back the layers enough so that you can begin to trust that inner voice, so that you can begin to hear it. And have that trust within yourself to say, okay, I'm going to follow that. Like, it doesn't make sense to my brain, but my heart has this wisdom and has this knowing, so I'm going to trust it. And that in and of itself takes practice.
It is, because it's scary. We're not used to it. Our mind finds a lot of it.
Absolutely. So the one piece, for those who are maybe, if you're just not hearing about human design, or about human design, what I love about human design on a higher level is that it's really too about taking you from your head into your body, into your heart. In human design, we talk about, that mind is not the authority. No. We think it is because we've been so conditioned to make decisions from our mind, but our minds are actually here for other people. Our minds are here to help us to learn and grasp knowledge and integrate things so that we can then share with others and help others along their journey, whatever way that we do that. And the way that we find the direction and the way that we make decisions comes from the wisdom of our authority, the wisdom of our bodies. So that in and of itself is kind of like a shift that's totally different than, how we're taught to make decisions.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it's true. Yeah, it is like to learn to listen to the signals of our body, to our emotions, to the wisdom of our heart. And I love that. But I didn't know that was also infused in this. So I've learned something new as well. Beautiful. Yeah, it's really, But that's with everything. If you go within the depth of also these teachings, there's so much to discover. And if there was one more thing you would want to give the people listening as an advice or a tip or an inspiration, what would it be?
What I would say is, I would encourage everyone to trust their way. And what I mean by that is, there's so much out in the world today that you can get your hands on, right? Information, knowledge, things like that. And I want to invite you to, yes, be a researcher, go out there and find the information, study it, but then run it past your own instincts, your own intuition, and peel away the pieces that feel aligned for you. And don't feel obligated that you have to do something exactly the way someone else does a thing. Maybe look at it and go, oh, okay, I don't care for that part doesn't feel right, but I really like this piece. Trust that and lead that thing.
I love that. We're so aligned in that way. We get bits and pieces everywhere and something sparks our soul and we can say yes, but it doesn't need to. Because that's why I think a lot of old systems are, this is the way, this is the truth, and this is the only truth. And that is not it. We are all different. So different things will spark us and it's making our own puzzle. And I love that. Thank you for that last wisdom and for sharing. And for everyone wanting to find out more about how you can work with Kendra and all her beautiful magic, you can find all the information below this audio or video. And for now, I want to thank everyone tuning in and you, Kendra, for being here and sharing your radiant soul. And thank you for the gift you are and for connecting. So
thank you. This has been beautiful.
It really was. Much love, everyone. And I'll see you in the next Soul Love. Bye. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.